Hello, this is CKProm7 again, and we're back for another commentary, this time Heroes vs. Villains Round 5, which is probably my most complex round so far, and that's saying a lot considering it's only round 5. So let's go ahead and get started. So we start off, Black Wolf sending out Necron 99 to go out and assassinate anyone who could be a threat to the Horn King clan. Then we cut back to the League of Knights, where Mrs. Brisby arrives, but brings the bad news that she lost her letter due to her encounter with Lucifer, which just makes Basil greatly upset. Then we cut to the Palace of Justice, where there are many prisoners in Frollo's prison, like Stanley and Juliana, and Tack and Tulio and Miguel.
How's the escape plan coming? Great. Getting some.
So yeah, this will eventually lead to a jailbreak, if I can come up with it. And yeah, Tack's in the same cell as Tulio and Miguel, in case somebody are all wondering. Then we cut to the Animal Cruelty Squad, Sector B, where Cruella arrives to where Jasper and Forrest are. There we see various dogs and cats, like Ralph and Snitter from the Plague Dogs, and Tom and Jerry. This laptop is burning my legs. Yeah, I actually just recently saw the Plague Dogs for the first time, and like watching that, it's pretty intense so. Then we cut to back to Merlin's group, where they're still waiting for Robin Hood to get back with the news. And Merlin also states to them that he sent out a scout to find Robin and to see if he's in any trouble. Then we cut to this bit on Patch of Heaven, which this bit was made by Ace McKillioface, where we see very much the animals from Home on the Range, Animal Farm, as well as Charlotte's Web, and The Fox and the Hound. Yeah, before he sent me this cutscene, I have not seen Charlotte's Web in a long time, until just recently, because I have the movie on VHS, and I rewatched it. It brings back so many childhood memories. And that is a very interesting point, though, because now that we're using Heroes, that means we can use non-Disney films that don't have a villain in it. Like, there is no villain in Charlotte's Web, so, yeah. Yeah, Animal Farm I also recently saw, and it's also a pretty good movie. I never read the book, but... Where are you going, Masa? Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to agree with History Buff. The Home on the Range, it's an okay Disney film. I mean, I don't hate it myself. I watched it a couple times. I mean, it had its moments. Now, don't get too tight around me, Masa. I would say Ace McKillivray did an excellent job with this cutscene. I just couldn't resist in, including it, so I did include it in the last minute or so. Sorry if I'm not saying much, there's just not much to say on this bit, besides that it's really good, and it's pretty obvious to know what's going on. He did a really good job with this sound bit use. Yes, the animals and pets are trying to figure out what to do. But Napoleon has something else in mind, waiting for his future allies, which y'all will see in the next round. Mouse, what are you doing? Where are you? Where's the snake? Oh, there you are. So we start with our first fight, Robin Hood versus Necron 99. So Robin and Little John are just wandering through Sherwood Forest, but are soon encountered by Black Wolf's assassin. And you probably noticed I'm playing the music they played in Wizards, where, you know, Necron 99 was chasing Weehawk. And this is probably the very first fight you guys are going to realize things are going to get brutal for this series. Of course, this is nothing compared to what will happen later. Now, I'm not going to go Sonic Shadow violence, but yeah. So yeah, they escape, and Merlin scouts her eyes, which turned out to be Peter Pan. Hold on, my snake's being a bit... She's very active since she just finished shedding. So then we go to Ozzy, Drix, Orn, and Dag versus Zerg and Warp Dark Matter. This is probably one of my favorite fights I've done for this series so far. I was kind of worried how it would turn out. Mainly because the reason why a lot of these fights have been easy to make is because I've seen the movies often enough and so many times that I know where certain clips are. But the thing is, now Oscar Jones and Buzz Lightyear Starkman I've seen enough times to know where the majority of good clips are. But Star Chaser I've only seen twice, so yeah, it's very difficult to find the right clips to use for this fight. I'm surprised no one comments on the fact that I kind of actually kept the sound bit of that spit gun and made a spit sound and it just exploded Zerg's drones. Like, that sounds like something JC would have commented on, but she hasn't said anything about that. Also, I just watched the newest round of Disney Heroes vs. Villains, and I find it ironic that me and Ace have the same idea for using Blue Falcon. It's really catchy music, dude. Yeah, Star Chaser, I could see what the Nostalgia Critic meant by being a cheap rip-off to Star Wars, because it does have a lot of similar things to the original Star Wars films. But I thought it was okay. I mean, the animation at times is pretty good. How you doing, girl? Yeah, she's been very active lately. Mainly because she's finished shedding and stuff. Oops. Oh, my nose. Then we go to Pocahontas and John Smith versus Knuckles. This was kind of a difficult fight to figure out and all. So basically, sent by Clavius to rid of any heroes that could be a possible threat, he sends out his minion Knuckles to deal with the loyal hero known as John Smith. Melissa, don't get on my keyboard now. I don't need you messing up anything. It's not that I'm not saying a whole lot. It's just a lot of this is pretty straightforward. You know, as much as I love The Swan Princess, because it is actually my top 10 favorite non-Disney animated film, the sequels were, they were decent. They were just okay in my opinion. Like, Clavius, he wasn't really that good of a villain in my opinion, but I mean, the song he's singing, you know, you gotta love it. It's a pretty catchy song. In fact, I actually like it better than Rothbard's song, believe it or not. Then we go to Escape from the Animal Cruelty Squad Sector B, which is so Ralph, Snitter, Tom, and Jerry all plan to break out of there before they become, like, any kind of clothing for Corolla's business. Yeah, I bet some of y'all are probably wondering, why the heck am I using Tom and Jerry in this series? Well, hey, if Sonic Shadow can use Pinky in the Brain, then I could probably do something similar. Yeah, as I said, The Plague Dogs, it's actually a really good film. I mean, I don't like it as much as Watership Down, but it's actually a good film. It's also dark, and it's really depressing as a movie. And also, what's funny is that, just like in Watership Down, John Hurt voices a character in The Plague Dogs, Snitter, the little fox terrier. You know, I also find it funny that, okay, I know I'm the one that made this fight, but it's still kind of hilarious how Ralph and Snitter went through the incinerator, one of the worst places to try to escape through, and Tom and Jerry managed to go through the window. I mean, what are the odds of something like that happening? Yeah, I will say, though, for this series, you guys will get quite a few surprises. You know, using non-Disney films that have, like, never or hardly ever used in these tournaments. Then we go to the interlude, where we start off with Littlefoot, who is still upset about the loss of his mother. And Ariel notices this. Yeah, I basically wanted Ariel and Littlefoot to have an interaction with each other before Littlefoot gets reunited with his friends, which should be pretty soon. You know, I may have mentioned this in the last commentary, I don't think so, but I recently saw The Little Mermaid Ariel's beginning for the first time, and it's actually not that bad of a, well, in this case, prequel. It's a prequel to The Little Mermaid. It's actually not that bad, because it was animated very well, and I actually do like Ariel's style in that one. She just looks, you know, amazing. She's probably up there my favorite Disney princesses. Then we go back to League of Mice, where Basil finally notices Fievel's predicament and feels so ashamed of himself for not noticing earlier. And yeah, Dawson explains to them what's with Fievel and how he got separated from his family. And Basil agrees that he will help Fievel find his family. And then Evinrude arrives with the letter that Brisby lost. And now they have a clue of where their arch nemesis Radican could be, which this could also lead to something later. Then we go to Knuckles returning to Clavius and Zelda, who are upset at him about failing to rid of John Smith. And then Rothler bursts in to recruit the two sorcerers to the Horn King's faction. Okay, now back to the fighting. So now we go to Peter Pan versus Necro 99. So Peter Pan now joins in on the fun and messes with the robot. Yeah, Wizards, even though I'm not that big of a fan of Ralph Bakshi, because some of his films are a bit, well, for lack of a better term, you know, weird. But Wizards, yeah, it's weird, but in a good way. I actually do like that movie. It's trippy, but it's actually a really interesting concept it had. Don't know what that was. So yeah, Necro 99 stumbles into the tower to murder the president. That's probably the most violent death we had in this tournament so far. And Necro 99, he's not dead. If y'all seen the movie Wizards, you know what happened. Merlin just knocked him out. And Robin and Peter finally make it back to the faction. Yeah, I'm just a little tired today. I was watching Robin Hood Prince of Thieves last night. It was on BBC America. Then we go to Tarzan versus Drake. So, Sheriff Khan recruits Drake, and he and Claudan send him to deal with the jungle man known as Tarzan. Tim Curry. Yeah, Tarzan, I may have mentioned this quite a few times before, but Tarzan is actually my favorite Disney animated film. I know it's an odd choice, but I just like it. I just love the characters, I love the story, and I definitely love the music. I mean, Phil Collins. Really? You know what I mean? Then we go to Kaylee and Garrett versus Gaston and Pete. I was originally just going to have Gaston fight the two, but I decided to add Pete in the mix as well. So far, since the two have to deal with heroes that he failed to rid of before. And some of y'all might notice that I actually used a scene of Pete that no one else has ever used in their series. The clip from Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. So the two heroes escape. Then we go to Bambi and Hazel versus Steel and Chief. This was originally going to be, well, this was originally going to be a couple things. Like, originally, I was thinking about having Dodger versus Steel in this round, but I guess it didn't really work out too well, story-wise and all. I mean, and besides, I already have a plan for a fight for Dodger later on. So yeah, while the rabbits are trying to figure out how to cross the river, Bambi stumbles upon another hunting dog, Steel. Yeah, I know this isn't much of a fight, but you gotta say, these rabbits are gonna be pretty hard to use in this tournament. And Fiverr just flops in the water. So yeah, the woodland critters escape. And then Amos Slade arrives and gets his two dogs back, who both wandered off away from him. Then we cut to Jean Bob Speed and Puffin versus Madame Medusa and Edgar. So the trio of animals enter their place to get a map that Medusa has that leads to the Horn King's castle, where Odette is held captured. And this leads to another musical, which is actually the very first hero song that's ever been used in any of these tournaments. And Rocco, out of nowhere, accidentally comes to the rescue. He was, trying to fly again, but he bumps into Jean Bob instead. Then we go to the epilogue, where Aladdin, trying to find more heroes to join his group, but stumbles upon Moses. And I know some of y'all have brought up it will be very controversial to use Moses in this series, but I already have my plans made out. And let's just say, I can't say too much without spoiling anything what I do have planned for Moses, and especially Ramesses. But it'll be something not really big, but you'll see when it comes. I just don't want to spoil anything. Then we go to, Kaylee and Garrett being wounded and all, but they stumble upon the unicorn. And just to let y'all know, her name isn't Amalthea yet. That's when she's in her human form. She's just called the unicorn. And The Last Unicorn, it is another really well-made animated film, in my opinion. And soon other heroes arrive. We have Tarn and his group, Balto and Beast all join in. Then we cut back to Hubie and Rocco joining with Jean Bob Speed and Puffin. Then we go to Tarzan meeting with Mowgli, and I know they were allies in Disney Heroes vs. Villains, but there's not really anyone else I could think of that they could ally with. I mean, this alliance is just too perfect. Then we go to Frollo recruiting Ramesses into his faction. There's so much wrong here. The only thing that make it more awkward if I included Cortez and Adolf Hitler in this faction. Then we go back to the Horn King's faction, where Larry lets Black Wolf know that Necro 99 has succeeded in killing the president. And then we cut to the Animal Cruelty Squad headquarters. Roll call. We got Corella, McLeach, Alameda Slim, Ampristine Fig, Clayton, Sykes, Lick Boost, the Colonel, and Amos Slade, and Madame Medusa and Edgar are also in this faction. They're just not there at the moment. And then we have the Vultures meet up with Littlefoot's friends and tells them that they have an idea where he could be, so they decide to follow them. And the mighty goddess Eris finally joins in and is ready to have some fun with the war. And so that is round 5 of Heroes vs. Villains. Probably one of my best rounds so far. It's only going to get better, hopefully, if all goes well. So yeah, that's round 5, and sorry if I haven't had any progress out on round 6. You see, this past weekend I've had company from Florida, and, you know, it's really hard to work on the source stuff when you have, you know, company. But they just left early this morning, so yeah, I should start progress on round 6 pretty soon, maybe even today. So yeah, this is CK Prime 07, and have a nice day.